Hey, welcome back to BIZ Talk TV. I'm your business host and guide, Michael Rager, here on the Now Media Television Networks. All right, we got Mr. Leo Simpson the second here today. Leo, how you doing today?
Doing well, my friend. How about yourself?
Oh man, it's another beautiful day. The pollen's getting me, everything. My eyes are puffy. That's why I got my glasses on, man. I'm telling you, there's nothing like Houston in the springtime, is there?
You better believe it. I have to make sure I put my eye wash in because if I don't, I'll be in trouble.
Yeah. All right, man. So we're going to talk about leveraging life in your business at a granular level. Explain
Mm.
that to me. What does it mean to, leveraging life in business at a granular level?
So, an easy way to think about it is the granular level is the level of depth. It's the core level. Whereas operating in your business, many times people operate from the surface level. They operate from, okay, the money we're making, the measures we're pursuing, the momentum we've created, and all of the different aspects related to the different mechanics that we use, like all of the things that are on the surface. And I like to talk about it from the perspective of a tree, right? When you go look at a tree, most of the time you see the tree for its trunk, you see the tree for its branches, its leaves, its fruit, if it's a fruit tree, or like nut trees. My grandmother used to have a pecan tree, so all those pecans on it and all of that. And you rarely think about the roots, and the roots are really the granular level, when the tree and the branches and all of that is really your grand or your more broad level. And so we want to focus on today talking about that granular level, what it is.
So yeah, we start looking at that. The roots are actually the most important thing because the roots do so many different things, man. They're uptaking nutrients, they're uptaking water, they're moving things out so the leaves grow, the fruit grows, and everything. So when we get into our business, how do we leverage that, and how do we start digging down into the roots of our business to really make that affect our life in
So
the right way?
that's a powerful question, and it corresponds to what we've been talking about the last few weeks, which is the specifics of family life and business life. And family life is really the granular level, and business life is really that broad level, right? And so a lot of times we have a comfort of being most excellent, most prepared, most engaged in our business endeavors, investing in the training, the opportunities, the development, and all those different things, and not really giving the same focus, not necessarily the same funds, because the same funds are not necessarily needed to grow business as it is to really advance family life, but the same focus in the family life in order to position yourself to be able to have this well oiled reciprocal effect between both of them. And this kind of goes back to where we talked about the relationship between family life and business life last week. When you live life and leverage life at the granular level, what you're doing is you're saying, I'm not going to forsake that which brings me more intrinsic value for that which brings me more tangible value, extrinsic value. And when we focus on making sure we put an investment focused approach into our family life as we do in our business life, then we position ourselves to leverage life at a very powerful level, which is that granular level that produces even more grandeur.
Well, let's talk about leverage and do that. So we want to leverage. How do we do it? I mean, what are some of the
Uh,
steps that we need to start doing to actually make that happen?
Great question. So, one of the things I teach is, and I talked about this on another segment briefly, is the three C's of life. And those three C's are, at the top level, you got contribution, below that, you got compensation, then you have consumption. And what happens is when you consume, you cannot do so without compensation. And so, in order to get compensation, you got to contribute, which means that in these three C's, each one of them have an independent function, but they also need the other in order to operate. So, there's an interdependent dynamic between the three of these. However, in order to really maximize or live at the granular level, leverage the granular level so you can really win at business, you've got to prioritize the right one. And often people prioritize what they consume, what it is they're trying to achieve, what it is that they're trying to receive, or they prioritize their compensation, what it is that they're going to be recognized for, the reputation. When you prioritize the release factor, which is at the level of contribution, you're focusing on that which I receive is designed to be an empowerment for what I release so that I can give more value that will return more value. And what happens is when you focus on giving the greatest value possible through prioritizing contribution, what happens is you position yourself to be in a place where your compensation, though it may not be at the level of your contribution, it will always be extensive. And it will position you to where what you consume will never catch up, not only with your compensation, but with your contribution.
So what happens if I prioritize wrong? What,
Mm.
what if I
So,
go in there and pick the
great
wrong thing to
question. I've been
look
saying
at?
great question a lot, but that is a great question. If you
Hey,
prioritize
look,
wrong,
I get one great question a day, dude. You're getting all week's worth right now, Leo.
oh
I'm just
man,
trying to
you
just
got some
stump.
great
It's
ones.
stump Leo time.
You got some great ones. That is a great question because you got to think about it. You can be winning on the surface level. For example, let's go back to the tree, the pecans, right? So you think about my grandmother used to, like I said, have a pecan tree. There would be pecans growing on that tree. When they would fall, she'd go and get the pecans. She said, "Oh, this is a bad batch." See, something is going on with the context of the growth of that tree that's affecting those pecans to not be what they ought to be, right? Maybe the soil is not nourished. And unfortunately, they ended up taking that tree out because of the way the roots were growing and things of that sort. The squirrels were eating up all the pecans. Maybe they were for them primarily anyway. But the point is, when you prioritize wrong, you get results, but you don't necessarily get results that take you where you really need to go in business and allow you to get the productivity that you're really able to achieve. And that goes back to some of the questions you've been asking in the last few weeks of how is it that when I walk in the door that I'm able to focus on the family? That's because if you don't know how to do that, that says that you've been prioritizing wrong, but you're winning in business. You're making money. You're actually taking care of the family. The bills will pay. You got results taking place, but you don't have peace of mind and you don't have peace and clarity of focus because you have prioritized that which is more on the tangible side than the intangible.
Well, you know, it's funny as you start saying that. I saw a friend of mine posted on LinkedIn today. I was scrolling before I got on the show, and he said, "Don't get mad at the results of today. Get mad at the efforts of yesterday."
Mm,
And so now we're starting to look at the granular level. That granular level is those efforts. And I can't expect to have a good business. I can't expect to have a good marriage and home life if I just started focusing on them today. It's going to take time to get there, right?
absolutely. Here's the thing. Even though it takes time, I'll give it to you this way. I was talking with one of our team members and I said to him, I said, you know, most people, when they move into a new work environment or they deal with things from the context of, you know, the professional work, they focus at the productivity level rather than the principle level, right? And the productivity level is about the results you get. How are you getting it? Are we doing enough? Are we getting the results? It goes back to Andy, who said, you know, a lot of times people think their business is valued for more than what it really is. Once you really get into the details, the granular, you find out what you can actually not only get for it, but what the market will bear. That's the same thing. It's the principles that really give true guidance. And when you predictably engage and practice the principles over a period of time, then the productivity becomes a reflection of the principles, not the productivity is based on what is desired to be achieved. So that time is very important on the basis of your commitment and decision for the principles to be priority, just like the contribution is priority.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I love it. I love when you kind of take things from where we are and just bring it back into one space here at the end. Now, we
Yeah,
got a couple minutes left. How do people get a
sure.
hold of you? And what kind of things do you have coming up in the near future where people can engage with you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So they've already been showing some of my pages and stuff, LinkedIn and some
I'm
of
on
those
there.
things. You can catch me. Team 3L is the way you can get to everything. Once you get there, you see what we have going on. You'll see how to get to our YouTube, our LinkedIn, our Instagram, and some of the other content that we have available. Listen, we've got a 90 conversations in 9 days, and one of the ways you're going to be able to access that at the beginning of April is through our YouTube channel, but also on LinkedIn as well. So if you go to that team30.com, you're going to actually get some information about that once it's ready to go. So I'm excited about being able to help people continue to achieve mastery between family life and business life.
Man, Leo, I love it. I love everything you bring to the show every week we have you on here. It's just awesome. The things that you're helping us do is put together a solid foundation of, business and home life and how to keep the two together, how to separate them when we need to, but make sure it all takes us to the right place that we need to be and, live the life that we want to live. So, man, I really appreciate you. And I'm glad you're a contributor with us, my friend.
Same here, man. Thank you all for this opportunity.
All right. So, I want to wrap up today. We started a little bit